I would want to welcome Gaurav and Sahil to talk further about the short form videos. Over to you, Gaurav and Sahil.
Lovely. Thank you, Seema. And indeed, very insightful. For those of you on the call, a very warm welcome. It's heartening to see all of you take out time from your busy schedules on a Thursday afternoon or evening and listening to us talk about our platform. Like Anushka said in the beginning, my name is Gaurav and I head emerging business for ShareChat and Moj. My job entails ensuring that all our mid-market independent agencies and the self-serve product is built to a level wherein business of all sizes can easily come onto ShareChat and Moj and reach out to their prospective audience at efficient cost. But today, we are very glad to welcome Sahil Shah to a fireside chat. Sahil is, of course, a known name in the industry. He's a digital marketing strategist who's crafted his way to building Hungrito, which is a strong community of more than 150,000 foodies. He now successfully runs a media consulting company named NetSavvies, creating unforgettable brand experiences through various projects. Amongst many other things, Sahil has been awarded by Andhra Pradesh CM for his excellence in public administration. And needless to say, Sahil is also a TEDx speaker. So welcome, Sahil. Thank you so much for taking out time.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav, for such a warm welcome. And thank you to the whole ShareChat team for having me here. And again, thank you to all the attendees who are coming here on a Thursday afternoon. The same way you said, taking time out or at this time is great for them also and for us. Yes.
Lovely. So, Sahil, let's get into it. We all know how short form video has taken over the entire world, right? And particularly a young country like India, which can't get enough of this small, bite-sized, snackable content, right? I mean, I can speak for myself. I love consuming short form content because there's both a lean back and a lean in behavior. If I'm looking for something interesting, there is a lean in behavior and I'm particularly searching for something. And there's a lean back when I'm done with my office and, my personal work. It's always good to sort of go through these short form videos and just, maybe sometimes laugh out loud or maybe get to know about a good content or an interesting fact, or my favorite nearby restaurant, etc., etc. But Sahil, I wanted to hear from you, given your wide experience in this domain, what do you think? What are some of those core reasons? Like, why is it that the young India of today is absolutely in love with the short form video content?
Majorly, I think it boils down to the penetration of internet first and how internet has reached a wider audience. On the same front, I will say it is more consumable than a larger piece of content, which is maybe 3-minute content or 5-minute content or YouTube content, how we used to see long form content, which was there. Why I think so is because India as a market, there was an Amazon ad, aur batao wala. And that is how young people think nowadays. They want to consume a lot of things in a very short span of time. My father used to always say me, never be a multitasker, always be good at one thing and do that. But I think people who are parenting Gen Z, if they are going to give them that advice, or millennials, that is not going to work out for them. Because these guys are multitaskers. They want to do a lot of stuff at a very short period of time and want to explore a lot. Because roti kapda makan wala jo dikkat tha, wo shayad ye log ke liye nahi hai. So now they are exploring more in life, what to do, how to do. And with that context when we see short form video content, it is very much consumable. They can consume a lot of stuff in a very short time in that way. Other thing is, there are a lot of regional players who are building great content pieces. Or suppose we take one example of fintech as a market and finance as an industry. There are people who are building content in Gujarati, there are people who are building content in Malayalam, Telugu, and those kind of things. Where initially there were only 2 languages. which used to dominate. English was the one, and then secondary, if there is any language, which would be Hindi. But then people who are regional, people who love to see regional content a lot more, for them, I think these short format video content has created a very big market. I know a lot of people who are not on big platforms, but use or consume platforms like Moj and those kind of things a lot in tier 2, tier 3 cities more. And when it comes to commerce also, a lot of commerce is happening just because they are consuming this kind of content. यानी पहले ऐसा होता था, अरे ये दिल्ली में रहता है ना इसलिए इनको ये पता है. That is not the case now. Somebody sitting in Meerut, somebody sitting in Ludhiana, somebody sitting in Rajkot will always know about trends which are happening around India because they are consuming content in this format. There would be a latest song, यानी एम्पलीफायर जब सपोज सॉन्ग आया था, सो मैंने वो सॉन्ग 4 साल बाद सुना था. मैं अहमदाबाद में रहता था और वो भी मैं सेमी गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में था. अब मैंने वो सॉन्ग रिलीज होने के 4 साल बाद सुना है, यानी तब हमें कहा जाता कि अरे यार तुम लोग अभी यहीं पहुंचे हो, उसके बाद तो इतने गाने आ गए. You cannot say the same thing to people sitting in Rajkot right now, because they listen to every song, every new trend which is coming on these applications, on these platforms very easily, because this is how it is. I think this is true democracy in its own sense. And that is why people love consuming this kind of content, because it is something which is very regional, number one. Number two, they can see their local creators, local influencers a lot more. So we work with, for Hungry to, we work with local influencers. So they create content just in Gujarati, and they have a million followers uh, on their platform, whichever they are in. And that is what is good for them also, and that is what is good for the region as a whole. Initially, what used to happen, there is a creator which has a million follower, but that would be spread out across whole India. If a brand today wants to get connected with just Gujarat as a market, they, rather than getting a Shah Rukh Khan, they can get a local creator or 2 or 3 creators and then create the same kind of buzz in the same region. Maybe not as far as Shah Rukh Khan can do, but maybe they are able to build that kind of reputation there. So that is number one. Local creators and those kind of people are doing wonders there. Number two, which I feel, which I have said multiple times, it is very easy to consume, and in a very less time, people are able to get a lot of information. Initially, suppose I used to work in Gift City in 2013. And it took me 6 months to understand what was the concept of Gift City as a whole. I used to go to office, I used to understand, okay, this is what they are trying to build, there's a finance hub and those kind of things. There are a lot of short format reels and those kind of things which are created in 30 seconds. They are able to explain how Tower 1 got built, Tower 2 was there, what is the whole concept about Gift City, and those kind of things. So that is where short information which is there, which people need and which people like a lot, is being done. A lot of people are teaching English. Small English words are being taught there. A lot of people are teaching mathematics. A lot of those kind of content is being created, informative content in whichever format it is there. So we used to, so initially Pinterest was the format where people used to learn about fashion a lot. Again, a lot of female audiences there on Pinterest. A lot of people go there to understand the fashion sense and those kind of things. Right now, we see a lot of creators के चुन्नी कैसे बांधनी है, 5 ways in which you can use your chunni, and those kind of things. Ponytail, how to build your ponytail. If you have this kind of hair, you do this kind of things. And that is small informative information, which I think these kind of applications, suppose for us, Moj and those applications, are able to deliver to a larger audience. So those are the ways I think due to which majorly small video format is working very well in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and majorly Bharat is adopting it at a higher speed.
Lovely. And Sahil, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I was in Rajkot very recently, and I was amazed that the the level of tech adoption by youngsters and in fact the middle-aged population in that part of the city is just so heartening to see, right? It is nothing that you can differentiate from a Mumbai or a Delhi or a Bangalore or a Hyderabad to a Rajkot, and which is where I think formats like these and smartphones and you know, cheaper internet has truly made the world a democratized place, right? In fact, continuing on your thoughts, Sahil, I also think in short form videos, it has also become a sort of a go-to form of expression for the young people today, right? And I
Yeah.
think there are some reasons for it. For example, short form videos programmed to grab attention right from the first second. Now, gone are those days when you would have a built up for a video or content or even an ad, right? So right from the first second, if you have the attention for the youth, then short form video is exactly the right thing to do. Secondly, I think, like you were saying, I think young India now demands content at their fingertips. And what better than a smartphone in their hands, right? Which is providing them everything in a short duration of time. In fact, an interesting number I was reading somewhere, right? So short form videos currently accounts for the largest pie of content consumed. I think about 1/3, about 33% of the content consumed online in India is actually short form video.
Short form video.
Carousels, think of carousel posts or carousel videos actually account for about a quarter, about 25%, and statics only account for about 22 to 24%. And long form videos, believe it or not, almost seem like yesterday now, they account for 15%. So I think overall, what we have seen, which is turning out to be a very, very rapid change, is that people are onto their phones consuming this snackable content either for entertainment or for information or to make business decisions or to make financial investment decisions, like you said, right? But continuing on that thought, Sahil, I wanted to get your views on, so this is the user side of the journey, right? A lot of people who joined us today would also want to know कि ये तो हमारे users हो गए. Clearly, there is time spent, there is engagement by users on short form video. But how can marketeers now leverage this short form video? They know that their audience, wo log udhar hain. But in your opinion, how do you think can a smart marketer of today leverage this short form video?
So majorly, the first thing first would be always what has been a golden rule of creating community in these all things. Because once you build a community, that is what most of the creators are trying to do. So suppose we take example of a creator like Mostly Sen. She created a community on YouTube. She started off with that, but then now she is creating a lot of reels and those kind of things. And that is a new community which is built in that format. For apps or for people who are marketing their own stuff, you have to build a loyal audience base. So that will be number one. Create your own content for your product which is there. Short form video content will go a lot of places. Let us take example of us as Hungryto, which is a food discovery platform. We have created a loyal following by making good content out of what is there around us. So suppose there's street food, there are things to do and those kind of things. So we create those kind of content pieces and so people follow us there. So that is one way of doing it where you as a brand are able to create your own community. How you leverage that, that is up to you. Maybe you are selling them, or maybe you are just building that community and then doing Facebook ads around people who engage the same way bewkoof.com or soulstore.com and those kind of people are doing. So they build content just so that people see that content and then they do retargeting advertisement on those people who are there. So that is number one, about creating community by your own, which I think is one of the most difficult parts to do nowadays. But if you have a content creation team in-house, you can definitely as a marketer try to do that, which is going to be a long-term game. Just like SEO is a long-term game, creating content and making your own audience is the one of the holy grail of doing marketing. If you do that, nothing better than that. Now, if you're not able to do that, you want quick results and you want to engage with more people, then comes the part of influencer marketing, which is there. So you can integrate your thing with these kind of creators and then work on a campaign and those kind of thing, which is there. So how will that work? So suppose you have a sari brand which is there and you are selling saris. What you can do is you can create 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, how many influencers you want. And just before Diwali, you can have 1 or 2 content pieces, reels, which they are pushing out on the trending songs which are there. And then there in that video, you can push your brand which is there and you are giving some discounts or Diwali coupon and those kind of things. So you get the ROI of that integrations which are there. So those are integrations. So you as an individual or as a brand can look out for creators in these zones. The best part about short video format is you will get creators in each and every zone which is there. 5-10 years back, what used to happen is there weren't anybody who were creating content on the back end of restaurant. Everybody wanted to become a chef, but nobody was creating any content on how to run restaurants. Now we have creators who are building content around that also. So because there is a larger mass which has started adopting content, there are a lot of people who have become creator in a specific niche also. So suppose initially what used to happen, there will be just B2B events. यानी दिल्ली में प्रगति मैदान में हो रहा है, बॉम्बे से वो एक्सपो में हो रहा है, चेन्नई में एक जगह हो रहा है, कोलकाता में एक जगह हो रहा है. ये 3-4 जगह थी जहाँ पे एग्जीबिशंस होते थे, वहीं पे B2B का बिजनेस होता है. Now that is not the case. There are a lot of B2B creators also with which whom can give you a lot of leverage. So suppose you are selling sound systems and those kind of things. There are short video format creators of people who are creating sound system and those kind of things, or sharing those information also. So those kind of creators can also be leveraged in that way. So that is number one. So that is number two. One more thing which I think is much more important is where as marketers, you have to also understand that creating a TVC or those kind of things which used to be there. यानी आप कभी भी कोई पुरानी कंपनी के पास चले जाओगे तो वो वही कहेगी कि अपन एक मस्त अच्छा टीवीसी बनाते हैं और उसको पुश करते हैं. Gone are those days, because people don't, like you also said, Gaurav, everybody wants to get engaged from the first second. TVC used to be 50-second, 120-second, 90-second kind of thing. And then those things did not connect with a lot of people. Now it is not a massive thing anymore because lesser options were there. People used to so suppose for number of channels and those kind of things also, when Mahabharat used to come, it had a 9 point something rating which was there. So a lot of people used to just see that one thing. But right now if Mahabharat comes again, it was lockdown, then people saw it. But आज फिर से कोई एपिसोड आएगा, नहीं देखेंगे उतने लोग क्योंकि उनके पास उतने ऑप्शंस है. Today, if somebody is watching an IPL match also at home in TV, your parents, you, if you see yourself, you have your phone in your hand. You are seeing continuously something on your phone also. You're continuously consuming a lot of content. So that is one thing, that if you are trying to build a TVC and do advertisement there, better than that, you integrate on a shorter video format where you will be able to reach a larger mass through that. And that is, I think, which is very, very important in that way, because activation and amplification is much more quicker in this effect. Because if a video goes viral, you get 1 million views, 3 million views, 2 million views, and those kind of things. Getting that kind of views in a TVC or that kind of eyeballs in a TVC is very, very, very difficult. We as a festival used to get 100 million views for our reels which were there.
Very
But if I think of getting 100 million views just by paying for that, it is going to cost me a lot of money. But there are a lot of creators which can help you reach those audiences. This is again for activation, for branding and those kind of things. You need to also build your CTA for these all campaigns which you are doing. Because a lot of people, whenever they do campaigns, they don't have any CTA for that campaign. अगर आप marketing कर रहे हो तो उसका end goal क्या है? यानी आज भी हम लोग यहाँ पे हैं तो कोई चीज का end goal होना चाहिए कि भाई वो चीज, when we are discussing these all things, this is just so that marketers understand how they can leverage ShareChat as a platform. So that is the end goal of this conversation that we are trying to do. In the same way, whenever you are doing marketing, so if you are trying to leverage it with the shorter video format with a larger audience, it should have an end goal. If you are building your own community, then it is okay. You are just trying to get more and more people to be in your community, more and more people to engage with you. But if you're trying to do a campaign, please have an end goal. Then only you will be able to get the right ROI or judge if that campaign is working out for you or not.
Yeah.
So those are the ways I think in which
And-
marketers can leverage it.
And Sahil, what will stay back with me is having an end goal कि हम अंत में achieve क्या करना चाहते हैं उस marketing campaign से. And दूसरा,
Yes.
I think, which I also want to elaborate on is how does one use influencers? Because influencers in today's day and age have become a powerful way of engaging with your prospective audience. And like you said,
Very
at
true.
an efficient cost, right? अब वो वाले दिन जब आप लाखों करोड़ों रुपए लगा के आप एक बहुत महंगा सा टीवीसी बनाओगे, उसका रिजल्ट क्या आएगा क्या नहीं आएगा, किसने उस एड को देखा, क्या आपके रेलेवेंट ऑडियंस ने एड को देखा, क्या आपका एड उस पार्ट ऑफ कंट्री में देखा गया जहां आपकी प्रोडक्ट या सर्विस अवेलेबल ही नहीं है। सो डिजिटल से सारी चीजें हट जाती हैं। इनफैक्ट साहिल, आपने हैशटैग चैलेंजेस का नाम सुना होगा।
Yes, yes, yes,
These are very, very powerful on our platform. So
yes.
these are essentially influencers talking about a challenge. Essentially, it's sort of gamification to engage the audience to say, can you do something? And then that sort of goes viral, right? And in today's day and age,
Yes.
instead of a brand getting into someone's way and telling their story, what today's youth wants is that can you engage with me organically? And that is where I think ये जो हैशटैग चैलेंजेस है बहुत ही पावरफुल है। मैं आपको एग्जांपल
Very
देता
true.
हूं साहिल, इसके बारे में बात हो रही है तो हमारा
हाँ.
Dettol, we all know, right? It is such
Yes,
a
yes.
powerful brand in the country. They came to us about a year back or less than that, and they said, "Ki, how can we engage with our audience in the upcoming intense heat wave, in which, of
Okay.
course, everyone wants." The message that they wanted to give is that if you want an instant cool down, what do you do? And then, we sat with them, and our brand solutions team and the Dettol team came up with the idea of take the coolest lip sync challenge. And we called it the hashtag shower cooler challenge, right? Now, believe it or
Okay.
not, Sahil, this campaign had a reach of about 61 million on the platform.
Oh,
The number of views that we were able to gather were 11 billion plus. And the user generated content, not the professional, but the users who were generating that content was north of 850,000. I think if I remember some of the other metrics, it got about about 500 million likes, about 40 million shares, about 600,000 comments. So all I'm trying to say is that a simple creative idea, when run with the power of our platform and the right influencers, can make your message literally viral and tell your story in a very interesting way. And similarly, हमारा एक ITC के साथ था, ITC yippee noodle, सब लोगों ने नाम सुना होगा। उसका अगेन
yes.
ये था कि through a fun and engaging एक gamified lens उन्होंने बनाया, and उसके through they wanted to say their brand message was some loot mal promotion, etc., right? And again, if I remember the metrics correctly, the campaign actually had a reach of about 50 million people, about 5.5 billion views, about 4 lakh plus UGC content. So HTC, in my opinion, is super interactive, and it gives you an opportunity for a user generated content too. The
Very
beauty
true.
of our platform is that we are able to offer end-to-end support for this, including the creative ideation, including the reach out to the influencers, etc. Essentially, there's lots of potential to explore this on ShareChat and Merge.
Yeah.
Okay, Sahil, in interest of time, let's move on. And before we let you go, I wanted to ask you one final thing. We spoke about how India can't get enough of short form video. Then we spoke about how
Yes.
marketers should leverage short form video. Now, Sahil, what do you think? Where is the future? And if you had a crystal ball, or you were our crystal ball, what would you tell us? Ye kidhar ja raha hai, short form video? What is the future of short form video in India?
So I think it all, as I started off with the internet penetration and the bandwidth thing. So when it was 2002, 2005 kind of thing, the bandwidth was very low. And Facebook, Orkut, and these kind of platforms used to come up, and they used to create content in a way where people used to just share scraps, or maybe do this kind of thing where they can do status update and those kind of things. So those platforms started, Twitter started in 2006 with just a text-based thing. Then came the times of 2010s when the bandwidth increased. Came the platforms like Snapchat and Instagram, those kind of platforms which had photo first kind of thing. So those platforms were built on a photo first level. I think then the whole decade was run by these people for the photo first and then those kind of. Right now, I think we are at a prime place where from 2020s, if we see video format and short form video format is at the flux, and then we will be able to see those content pieces going at a larger scale now, because right now we are sitting at a place where we everybody has a 4G network available around them. With the 5G network distribution, the towers have been distributed and everything is there. Few cities and few towns. Geo has already started rolling it. Airtel is trying to roll it more. We will see a lot of people adopt to video format a lot more because of the bandwidth, because of the penetration of internet and those kind of things. That is number one. Number two, which I feel is, we as a country will see a lot of people buying also through these channels where e-commerce is linked, where you see a fashion influencer wearing a t-shirt or a shirt, and then you will see a trend where, oh, that sale of that t-shirt or shirt of that company is going up, which used to happen earlier with just urban places, but now you will see that happening slowly and gradually with the tier 2 tier 3 city places also, because availability of the content, because availability of the things around them, logistics are getting sorted, and those kind of things. One more thing which I feel is the devices. Number of devices in India are increasing day by day. Suppose we take example of, if we say number of factories also which are there. So there were just 12 factories in 2014 time, or I think 12 or 2 was the number. I used to work for government a lot more, so I used to do those kind of stuff. Right now we have more than 130 or 140 factories which are just producing mobile phones. So the cost which used to incur to get a mobile phone in 2012 has also gone down drastically. Apple as a company is producing, I think they are targeting to produce 50% of the mobile phones from India. Other companies are there who are bringing up their R&D centers. Samsung has the biggest mobile phone manufacturing unit in India, and those kind of things. These are the things where we know that every Indian is going to have a smartphone in their hand. That is number one. Geo and those kind of people are very bullish on the internet penetration. So if you see, Geo has won the IPL rights and they are streaming it for free. That means a lot of people have smartphones. They are either going to buy it or either are going to consume content there, and then they are going to move on other platforms, and then they are going to see those kind of content. So this is where I feel we as Indians are at a flux point where we will see that a lot of new people are going to come in the ecosystem who will have a bigger buying power. So suppose we take off per capita income also. Last 20 years, our per capita income from 2000 to 2020 has doubled. We are going to double that not in next 20 years, but in just next 10 years.
Yeah.
And now people who are going to come up in a way where they will be spending on luxury. They will be spending on things. पहले ऐसा था 5 शर्ट है तो ठीक है, अभी 5 शर्ट है, 5 दिन के 5 शर्ट है, ठीक है. अब वो है कि 5 शर्ट पड़े, अब ये ट्रेंड आया ना, तो अब मेरे को ये शर्ट लेना है. That audience is continuously increasing. People are spending on luxury and those kind of things. So that is where I think short video format is going to play a lot of roles in the discovery of these all trends, in the discovery of these all things, in the discovery of knowledge, and that is the future. That is what I feel.
Awesome. And I couldn't agree with you more, Sahil. I think our country is right at the inflection point of big changes that are happening, right? So, to your point, I think depending on the reports you read, India should have more than a billion smartphone users in the next couple of years, right? Which makes us by far the largest country with smartphones. And of course, with increasing GDP per capita, with increasing time spent, internet becomes the obvious way. And within internet, I think short form videos become a big place, right? There are estimates that tell us that by 2025, there'll be around 65 crore people who will be consuming short form video on a daily basis. Remember, Sahil, gone are those days of social media wherein some of the users would log into social media once a month and the companies would report monthly active users.
Daily active users, monthly active users and those kind of,
Short form video ka beauty hai ki if one is hooked onto it, they will come to it daily.
Daily,
so 2025 tak we are expecting 65 crore people to consume short form video on a daily basis. Not only that, I think if you were to also look at the backward trend, right? Hamara jo Moj platform hai, which is our short form video platform, 2020 mein we had 30 million users. That number currently is well north of 200 million.
200 million.
तो 3 करोड़ से 20 करोड़ लोग डेली बेसिस पर या मंथली बेसिस पे हमारा मौज प्लेटफॉर्म
Content consumption.
Almost a growth of 6x in less than 2 years, right? And if you combine this with further smartphone penetration, sky is the limit. Cool, Sahil. It was lovely talking to you. Like I said, thank you once again for taking out your time and telling all of us at Share Chat and all of our audience here about what is it that marketeers can do with when it comes to short form video.